these are all the physical books I read. There probably are a few more, but I must have read them via audio, and either I didn't like them or I haven't got round to purchasing the trophy book yet. I think we should organise how I tell you about the books by superlatives. Best book, funniest book, saddest book, worst book, strangest book. Anyway, you get the gist. I'm going to put these down now and then we can get on with March and April's reading wrap up. Also, hi, hello, I'm Natalie. I post twice a week, usually consisting of book hauls, TBR videos, reading wrap ups, reading vlogs. If that sounds like your kind of thing, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I'd love to have you over here. Just had a little count up on Goodreads and I've read 34 books over the last 2 months. I will put a little graphic here in case you're interested about the percentage of ratings that are given and all that good stuff. I mean, I love stats, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Let's just get straight into the books. Out of sight, out of mind is literally my daily reality. I'm just going to get the audiobooks that I loved out the way first, because otherwise they won't get a look in, and I feel like they need a mention. The Wedding People by Alison Espatch. I loved her narrative voice. I actually laughed out loud in some places. It was really funny, but also it was very dark, and I love that kind of morbid take where the author uses satire to tackle heavy topics, and I felt like this was done so respectfully, but also it still felt deep. I think I gave this 4.75 stars, and that's just me being picky because I didn't love the ending, but it worked for the story, and don't let that put you off. Obviously 4.75 stars, you know, it was so good. So that was definitely one of my most surprising reads. I read that via audio and I have pre-ordered the paperback. Another great read I had via audio was Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. This one was about a black woman who goes to work as like a nanny for a white family. It's got a lot to say about microaggression, unconscious bias, and lots of other important topics that are very subtly weaved throughout, that you come away from the book learning something without even realising that you're taking it in. I really liked this. I thought it was a great time and very interesting. It's one of those books that after I sat with it for a bit, I enjoyed it more. What was the other one I really wanted to tell you about? Oh, Smell of Other People's Houses. Oh my God. I've actually got a copy of this on its way to me. I absolutely loved it. Now, if you know me, you know I love anything Alaska, isolation, interconnected stories. It was just so intimate. You really get to know the characters. So what is it about? A group of young kids that grow up in wild Alaska, Fairbanks I want to say, and the things that they go through. It's definitely kind of like a quiet study, but I just loved it so much. That was a 5-star read for me, so I have to mention that one. Let's move on to Book You DNF'd. I don't think that counts, but I did have one DNF. Sadly, it was one of my 25 for 25 picks, which is Mostly Dead Things by Kristen Arnett. I just couldn't get into it. To be honest, it was just a bit too weird. I do love a weird girl lit fic. Melissa Broder is too weird for me. And Kristen Arnett, yeah, it just felt a bit icky. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the relationship dynamics that were being presented to us. I mean, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. I just didn't vibe with it. Hopefully somebody else will, because this is going to the charity shop. A book that made me bawl my eyes out. All the Lonely People by Mike Gale. This book was absolutely incredible. A young Jamaican lad who comes over to the UK to start a new life for himself, and his daughter lives in Australia, says that she's coming back to visit him to meet all of his friends and his buzzing social life that he's told her all about, but that isn't actually true, and this is him working to remedy that. It's just incredible. If you haven't read this, please read it. Mike Gale, what a legend. Books that didn't meet my expectations, which is my own fault because I set them too high. I have a couple for this. It actually pains me to say this because this author has written 2 books that I absolutely adored. But it's Charlotte McConaughey, Wild Dark Shore. I'm actually making some content around this. Books that I was so hyped up for, but unfortunately just fell a bit flat for me. I know lots of people are reading this and loving it, so don't let this put you off. It was still good. I still enjoyed reading it. I'm still glad I read it, but I was hoping I was going to end up with a 4 or 5 star, but unfortunately I did not. Another disappointing read is one that I'm reading at the moment, but by the time this goes up, I would have finished it. hopefully in the month of April. That's Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life, which is her newest release, and yeah, it's given me Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibes, which I didn't vibe with, so I'm not enjoying this. Although saying that, hi, yeah, have you got my parcel in your room? Yeah, was it a delivery for me? I've just had a delivery. The smell of other people's houses. Yeah, it's only short. I forgot to mention that actually. It's more of a novella, but it's absolutely amazing. I hate the UK cover. So this one took a little bit longer to get to me because I ordered it from the US, but I much prefer this cover. Lovely. Worst book of the month. Obviously other than the DNF, but I didn't finish it, so I can't really give my full thoughts on that. Big shock. The Will of the Many by James Islington. I vehemently, I hope I've said that right, dislike this book. It was so confusing. Why is it so long? I just didn't get it. I just did not get the hype, and I'm so sad about it because obviously who goes into a book wanting to be disappointed? But yeah, this was a massive miss for me, unfortunately. The most boring book I read this month is The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. No, to be fair, no, I was quite bored. It was just so slow. It's a vampire book, but without being a vampire book. I didn't hate it like I hated The Will of the Many, but I didn't love it. I don't know if this author is for me, you know. This is the second book. This is the second book that I've read from him and haven't loved. So I really wanted to read The Cabin at the End of the World. The premise of that sounds really interesting, but I just don't think he's for me. That's fine, you know, it happens. Bleakest book of the month I read was How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I'd say like 90% of this book is like bleak and triggering. It's a selection of short stories all kind of woven together, basically about the end of the world. It is like a post-apocalyptic kind of situation where, I don't know why I said it like that, situation where they're kind of grappling with day-to-day life due to permafrost melting and a virus being released, devastating many people's lives. But yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. The writing is beautiful. Highly recommend. But just be prepared that it's extremely bleak and extremely dark. Much darker than I thought it was going to be. Most grotesque. Oh, I've got two. The first is The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I just didn't love it as much as I've seen so many of my friends loving it. So I'm very sad about that. But I do think it is impressive. I was just a little bit bored in the middle. And I think some of the analogies just kind of went over my head a little bit. Essentially, a mother and a daughter live together in an isolated cabin, and when strangers happen across this cabin, which they call strays, they eat them. So yeah, this has got cannibalism in it, and some of it's quite gruesome. I do just want to read you the first line though, because it is pretty iconic, I have to admit. On my 4th birthday, I plucked 6 severed fingers from the shower drain. Another gruesome book that I read, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes by Clay McCoy Chapman. This is a very in-your-face social commentary horror. It's very gruesome. It's a good time. It's extremely entertaining. Obviously, you do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, but that's fine. I don't mind that. I knew going into it was going to be pretty wild. People that voted a certain way kind of become brainwashed by technology. But yeah, it's a good time. I would recommend. Books that exceeded my expectations. Let's try and get some more positive ones in here. And that was Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. A woman goes to help out her friend by becoming like a nanny or a governess to her friend's stepkids. But the difference is these kids actually catch on fire. Like literally. It's quirky. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's still got grit, it's still got heart. 5 stars. I can't wait to read another Kevin Wilson. His writing style is for me. The most quietly disturbing book I read this month was The Country Will Bring Us No Peace by Matthew Samard. The tagline on this is that this is a horror with all the horror drained out of it, and I totally get what that person meant. Do you know what? It is incredible, and I did tab it a few times because the writing was beautiful. I think I gave this 3.5 or 4 stars, but it's definitely 4-star, maybe even a 4.5, you know, because the more I think about it, the more I think how brilliant it was. Nothing really happens. All the horror and the tension is in the atmosphere. It's just so melancholic, melancholy. I can never say this word. Melancholy. I need to stop saying the word because it's going to not make any sense. Some of the quotes in here. Cut off from the world, we'll conceal our scars beneath the sleeves of our false hopes. Bar. They've gone to this small town where there's like no joy, there's no birds that sing. It's quiet, it's eerie, it's atmospheric, the writing's stunning, and it's only short. Definitely the most quietly disturbing. Books in a series. I'm just literally making this up as I go along. I read the first 2 books in the Wayward Children? Is it called? Please tell me it's called the Wayward Children series. Yes, it is. The Wayward Children series by Shauna Maguire. The first one is Every Heart a Doorway. And the second one is Down Amongst the Sticks and Bones. These are portal fantasies. I thought that they were YA. They really aren't. I thought they were cozy fantasy. They definitely aren't. You know all the films that you watch growing up as a kid, like Lion, Witch and Wardrobe, etc., where the kids go through to a magical world and then they come back and they're kind of still a bit normal. Well, in this world, they come back and they are a bit messed up from it, you know, like they've spent years in a completely fantastical land and then have to just come back to Earth and be normal kids again. This series explores that. The first one, you're kind of just meeting all the characters in this kind of children's home. It takes in children who have experienced going through portals into the other worlds, kind of getting to know the expanse of this world. It is so morbid and I just loved it. And then the second one explores some of the characters you meet in the first one and actually follows them through into their portal fantasy, and you find out what life was like for them on the other side. A prequel. It is a prequel. So I'm excited to carry on with the series, actually. I really enjoyed those. I'm running out of superlatives, so I'm just going to go through the rest of the books. There's still quite a few. Some I've already vlogged or spoken out on other videos. I will skip through those ones quite quickly and obviously make sure I link the reviews and everything else in the description. James by Percival Everett, which is a reimagining of Huckleberry Finn told through the eyes of James or Jim. Brilliant. I'm thinking of ending things by Ian Reid. You won't have seen my vlog for this yet because I'm still in the process of editing it down, but this was okay. I've seen it done better. Full thoughts on the way. Daisy Haites by Jessa Hastings. I vlogged this as well. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to continuing on with the series. The Hacienda by Isabel Carnes is a gothic horror about a woman who moves into her new husband's house and is haunted by her ex-wife. So traditional kind of gothic setup, but with a twist. She becomes romantically involved with a priest who has his own secrets as well. I can see the appeal, but it just wasn't for me, unfortunately. I just don't think I'm really into gothic horror. I prefer more like social commentary, satire horror or cozy horror. But yeah, no, unfortunately that one wasn't for me, but I can recognise that it was, you know, a good book and see why people enjoy it. This one I haven't vlogged actually, but Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was just a little bit too much whimsy. Fairy courts and, you know, turning into things, and yeah, it wasn't for me, sadly, but that's okay. I appreciated the writing and I really enjoyed the dynamics between, what were their names? Emily and Wendell. I did like Wendell. He was really cool. Cool. I don't know if he was cool, but he was definitely interesting. I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. This one is also going to be in that horror reading vlog, so I'm going to keep my thoughts on this one close to my chest. But if you've got me on Goodreads or Fable, then you already know what I think. This one's on a reading vlog. Grady Hendrix, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. Absolutely loved this. This is now my new favourite Grady Hendrix. Like a mother and baby unit home where girls, historical by the way, they used to get sent there when they were pregnant and unwed so that their babies can be adopted out. They don't really have much autonomy. Then one day a travelling librarian comes and offers the girls a special kind of book, and that's where they get introduced to witchcraft and things kind of just spiral from there. Loved. So good. Marmite by Jessica George. It was heartwarming. I can't really remember that much about it, if I'm honest, but I do remember the audiobook being good and that I did feel emotional in places. Notes on an Execution on a reading vlog. absolutely loved this. One of my favourite books over the last 2 months by Daniel Kafka. I talk about this book all the time. Essentially, it's following a man that is on death row and the hours are counting down, and you are getting to know about his crimes and his life through the women that he's encountered throughout his lifetime. It is fantastic. Black Girl Call Home, which is a poetry collection by Jasmine Mans. All the poetry is by her. It's absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend the audiobook as she narrates it herself. Loved this. Finley Donovan is killing it. It's a cozy mystery about a woman who gets mistaken for a hit woman and propositioned. She decides to undertake the task. It is funny. It's a good time. I really enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to trying out some new cozy mysteries because I didn't think they were for me, but I did really enjoy this. I've got Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, I think it is. I've just borrowed that from the library, so I'm going to read that one next, I think. What I'm currently reading at the moment and loving, by the way, is The Unworthy by Augustina Bazterrica. Oh, this is one of my most anticipated books of the year. I loved Tender. I think it was a 4-star read for me, but this I am already enjoying so much. It's got a very dark, ominous, uncomfortable atmosphere, much like Tender. It's uncomfortable for you as the reader, but the character in the book just sees everything as normal. That seems to be her narrative voice, and I am here for it. Let me know if you have read any of these books. I'll put a list of the superlatives in the comments section. I would love to hear what your responses would be to each of those. Definitely let me know what your favourite book over the last 2 months has been. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. If you did, I'd love it if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I'd love to have you over here. Until next time, I'll see you in another one soon. Bye.